Sex is the life force energy that runs through us all. Can you use sexual energy for your spiritual evolution? Or perhaps for emotional healing? Is it even possible? Clinical Sexologist Dr. Martha Tara Lee will explore all these and more on Eros Evolution on OMTimes Radio.
Hello and welcome to Eros Evolution. This is where sexuality and spirituality meets. My name is Martha. I'm a clinical sexologist based in Singapore, and my company is called Eros Coaching. That's eroscoaching.com. And every so often I get my act together and I go through all the different episodes that I've done over the last few months, so as to do a little bit of a cheat sheet. And in this, I summarize all the different episodes, what I learned from them, so that people who are time pressed, they may choose to listen to this episode and then decide which are the ones that they feel drawn to, and go back and listen to them. And so today is actually what I'm going to be doing. I'll be summarizing the past 13 episodes, and this will be the 5th time that I'm doing this summary. And so I guess let's begin. One of the things that I want to say before we start is that last week I had a guest, and the episode was episode 73, and she talks about date yourself with Kamera Mastika. And what happened with the episode was that it was not recorded, and we're just still trying to figure out how we can put the episode out since it wasn't recorded by the station. But Mastika actually managed to record it, and we're trying to figure out how to get this uploaded and the format changed so that it can be done in a way that can be uploaded. So for those of you who were waiting for last episode and was having difficulties with it, you can wait for it, and we're still trying to sort that out. But in today's show, I'll be doing a quick summary about it anyway. In order to get all the episodes in a quick glance, because I know you do need to go to the OMTimes Radio website and try to find the correct link. What you can do is go to Google and key in Eros Evolution at a glance, and you'll be able to get my link where I have put all the episodes all on one page. That might not be the easiest way as well, but at least it gives you everything at one glance, and you can do Ctrl F to look for the specific episode that you're looking for. So let's begin. And I start with the show that was the furthest from today, which was on March 10, and it was episode 61, and it was Urban Tantra with Barbara Perella. I actually took quite a long time to get Barbara Perella to come onto the show. It was actually rescheduled 4 times, for those of you who are not aware. Barbara Perella is really a big figure when it comes to the world of sexology. She teaches urban tantra, modern day tantra. Nowadays, tantra is not taught in the traditional form. A lot of the tantra that's being taught is actually modern day tantra, also known as neo tantra. And Barbara Perella came out with this version of it called urban tantra, which makes sense to her. She talked about how she came up with this new form of tantra when the origin of it during the 1998 AIDS crisis, and how when she was in this support group with her friends, they started to explore their sexuality to find out what are they going to do about sex now that there's AIDS and their friends are dying. Excuse me. They found that they were in need of a spiritual practice. They felt abandoned by their gods, and Tantra was really more like a philosophy for them, so they decided to make it practical. And she wanted a Tantra that was not about genitals or gender, and actually been experimenting in running workshops, and then urban tantra was coined. For Barbara Carrella's tantra has to be more inclusive. It's more than just about sex. It's about being mindful and passionate about life and experiencing sex to drive transformation with this inner knowing that she had that sex can be spiritual. She wanted people to be able to experience and practice it consciously. She even brings parallel with bondage and how that can also be related to Tantra. In Tantra, a lot of the practices involve spiral, using breath, presence, love, awareness. And some people can find Tantra a little bit too soft or fluffy or woo-woo. She made it very practical. And she talked about ecstasy being a new way to talk about sex and spirituality. She also emphasizes peak experiences, and sex being one of them, to help us to effectively shift and be able to blow the ceiling or sky of what is possible. And as you can tell, Barbara really believes that sex is more than just about sex, and that it is so important that ecstatic experiences is not just linked to happiness. We can be ecstatic, and for her, it's a lot of giving yourself permission and possibility. So she's known as the Thinking Of Lady because she was featured in Discovery, and you can actually find her video Thinking Of. If you just go to YouTube and Google Thinking Of Barbara Carella, you'll definitely be able to find her. And so do check out Barbara Carella. I'm a big fan of her and her work, and she has 2 books that I know that I really love. She has another one that I haven't read. So her 2 books are Urban Tantra and Ecstasy is Ecstasy. So do check out Barbara Carella's. On March 17th, I spoke about sexual empowerment. In that episode, I was inspired by a recent interview also on the same topic, sexual empowerment, and decided to turn it into an episode. What had happened was there was a tiny mix-up with one of my guests, so I spoke during that episode. She's going to come on the 30th of June, so be sure to tune in on that day. So during sexual empowerment with myself, we talked about what is sexual empowerment, my sexual journey. I talked about my relationship with my mom and how she actually, with positive comments about sex, actually really helped me to form this belief that sex was something to look forward to when I grew up. We talked about how I lost my virginity in a very positive, empowering way, which again anchored for me that sex was meant to be fun, loving, wonderful, amazing. I then talked about going to sex school in my doctorate in human sexuality that I took at the Institute for Advanced Study of Human Sexuality, and how the biggest thing that I actually got from all the things that I learned was orgasmic yoga and how it changed my life. I then talked about marriage and how it fell apart and what I learned about myself, and from there being led to go into Tantra, learning about sexual polarity. And so this is a very personal episode, and if you're interested to find out more about the person behind Eros Evolution, then do listen to this episode, Sexual Empowerment with Dr. Martin Tarali, episode 62. In episode 63, on March 27th, I talked about awesome anal sex. It's called Awesome Anal Play with Charlie Glickman. And Charlie Glickman is somebody that I really respect. He's a very well-known sexuality educator, and his specialization is anal play, and he knows a lot about it. And this is a topic that I really couldn't think of anybody else I wanted to interview for this. He started the show by demystifying some concerns about anal play, The first one being it's going to hurt, it's going to be messy. The second, that once you do prostate play, that this is really going to affect your masculinity as a man. It's going to make you turn gay. So there are fears around it. He talks about how to get started. It doesn't have to be during sex. There doesn't need to be any intercourse. You can just play on the side, the anal sphincter on the side, and it's really about getting your partner turned on first before you even begin anything. The episode talked about anatomy, about the inner and outer sphincter, and also we talked about the use of gloves, lubricants, vibrators, sex toys, where's the prostate, what to do when there's pain, lots of tips and advice, and we also talked about anal massage and the difference between anal massage and anal play, which should be obvious, and how to communicate when asking for anal intercourse. So this is quite a taboo subject for a lot of people, but what I found is that with clients who are more educated, they're actually more interested to find out about this topic because inevitably this topic, because it's so taboo, it actually has a form of eroticism around it. Like I said, a lot of people who are actually more educated are actually more interested in this topic, and I find that I do bring it out in my workshops. Important to get educated. So in episode 63, definitely want to check it out because he's the only person that I've had on in Eros Evolution talking about anal play. So we are having a short break now, and we'll come back and talk about other shows we have had in the past.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millisers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she is feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
You are listening to Eros Evolution on OMTimes Radio Network, and you can share the show with your friends by sending this link, omtimes.com/mobile. With this link, your friends will be able to listen to the show without needing to download any app. It's really cool. So once again, the link is omtimes.com/mobile. In today's episode, I'm summarizing the past 13 episodes of Eros Evolution. This is a little summary of the main takeaways. And If you're interested in what I'm saying about each episode, you can actually tune into them individually. One of the ways you can do this easily and quickly is to go to Google and key in Eros Evolution at a glance. So in this page, I list down every single episode, and you can easily find each episode by doing a Control F and search for the show. So it's a pretty long page now with all the episodes, and today is actually episode 74. Okay, let's talk about episode 64 on March 31st, and I had August McLachlan, and she talked about sex and disordered eating. So I started the show by asking her what's the difference with disordered eating and eating disorder. She talks about disordered eating as emotional and actually more common than eating disorder. The difference is the frequency and the severity of their relationship with eating. So August had this issue. She was a model and she was anorexic. She was also doing binge eating, and she took 8 to 10 years to overcome this. And she's now a very popular podcaster and very passionate on the topic of body image. One of the things that helped her to really embrace her sexuality was this sex education class that she was attending in college. And the teacher talked about sex, and she began by saying, "Today we are going to talk about sex." And somehow that sentence clicked for her, and she began to see sex as a way to heal herself. She felt malnourished. She had a lot of stress, anxiety, depression, and by learning how to become healthier and regaining her sex drive, she started to learn more about her sexuality and the shame around shame. In this episode, she talks about how she learned how to work on her spirituality through her body, and the hopelessness that she was feeling, she overcame it through meditation, mindfulness, stillness. She recommended the book 30 Days of Rest, and she also talked about how she only learned how to masturbate to orgasm when she was 30 plus, and her relationship with herself has changed a lot. And one of the things that she really advocates is journaling. And she talks also in this show about the importance of really trusting your body and being in tune with the food that you eat. So she talks about intuitive eating, and what she does personally is really focusing on whole grains, nuts, and gratitude. So if you're interested in relationship with food and body image, that's episode 64 with August McLachlan. The next episode was Orgasmic Running with Sarah Martin. Sarah Martin is my colleague, and she's the executive director of Sex Coach You. She came out with this fun ebook called Orgasmic Running, and I just had to interview her. In Orgasmic Running, she talks about how one can insert Kegel ball into the vagina, if you have a vagina, and doing fast walking first. The benefits is that you become more aware of your body in a different way. It's not about the orgasm, it's about pleasure, and it provides some form of strength training. She definitely doesn't recommend doing this every day. She recommends doing it, say, 3 times a week or every other day. It's entirely possible. In her fun little book, she talks about how she learned how to enjoy running in a new way. She has more increased appreciation of her body and less shame around sexuality, more connected with her sexual energy. And this episode talks about the benefits of body-mind integrative practices. And she also talked about her other work, such as her passion of aphrodisiac kitchen and gamification, which is something else that she's into. So if you're interested in some of these things that I'm saying, you definitely want to check out Orgasmic Running. And Sarah Martin can be found at goodsexlifestyle.com. Okay, and the next episode is the Ritual of Play with Cleo Dubois. And if you are not familiar with her, she's actually a very famous BDSM teacher. She got started in her relationship with her boyfriend, and she was actually doing it before she even knew what it was, and she began teaching it. She was one of the pioneers, and she recommended the book Ethical Slut during the episode. She doesn't like to use the word BDSM. She feels that kink is a lot more acceptable and more embracing, and whatever term that you want to call it, she rather focus on the connection and the importance of touch. She calls it all play, and it's really all about running energy and self-exploration, play with sensory deprivation. Each interaction is different. People put on personas and archetypes. It can be a very electrical feeling, and that's the reason why she titled the episode Ritual of Play. So when we talk about play, there are lots of things you can play with. You can play with color, agreement, sex, and after that come back to being so-called normal people. So this actually is a great way to just release stress and tension and just be creative, let loose, have fun, let your inner child out. And there's a lot of stigmatization around BDSM and kink. But really, the more educated we are, the more informed we are, I think the more relaxed we can be, the more we can give ourselves permission to play. She talks about the continuum of body, heart, spirit, and being very conscious about being alive. She talks about the difference between flogging and caning. And if you're really interested in the richness of this episode, be sure to tune in to episode 66. That is the Ritual of Play with Cleo Dubois. And I just want to do a little shout out for her website, and it's sm-arts.com and then cleodubois.com. That's Cleo, C-L-E-O, and Dubois is D-U-B-O-I-S. And she's someone that I really respect. In the next episode, I have 5 Secrets to Pleasure and Connectedness with Mitchell Tepper, and he is also somebody that I really respect. The reason why I say this is because he's a strong advocate of sex and disability. He broke his neck in 1986, and after a short career in business and finance, he realigned his life with the mission to end the silence around sex and disability. So even though the episode is based on his book, I think the message is relevant to people who are able-bodied. So don't just dismiss this episode because he has disability, but it's actually entirely relevant. So I explain more what I mean. He talks about the 5 keys, and I'm going to go through the 5 keys. The first one being pleasure is not just a physical sensation. Pleasure can be mental, emotional, spiritual, right? The second is orgasm doesn't just happen between your legs. A lot of us will know that sex is, our brain is our biggest sex organ, and so a lot of what makes us feel horny and turn on is in our brain. So definitely it's not just between your legs, not in your bodies, and research has actually shown that even if you have a severe spinal cord injury and it's complete, you can still feel sensations in your body, and you can still have orgasmic energy through your body because of the vagus nerve. And this is something that if you're interested, you can look up. The third key that he had was how trust, safety, and connectedness matter more than movement or sensation. If you don't have trust, safety, and connectedness with a partner, then a lot of it is just not going to be something that you feel, because a lot of us would agree that we need to be able to trust and surrender in order to be able to feel more. So it's less about what is being done to you, it's more about what you can do with what is being done to you, which means your ability to receive. The fourth key being intimate connection, fuels desire. Your connectedness with someone will fuel your whole desire, feeling, sensation to life. The fifth point, love is an action, not a feeling. A lot of people in modern day don't do what they don't do because they just don't feel like it. Love is a commitment. You commit to someone, the act of doing can actually feel more love, and so love is an action. I think a lot of this applies to all of us, and this is a very good episode because Mitchell Tapper is somebody who is very seasoned sex educator, and this episode is very rich in a lot of the things that he's sharing, so I definitely recommend it. And if you're interested in his work, you can go to drmitchelltapper.com, and he's doing a crowdfunding project right now called Making Love After Making War. He's doing a documentary, doing crowdfunding right now, so be sure to check out his website and find out more about how you can support his very important work. And we're just going to come up for a break very soon, and I just want to do a quick shout out again. It's Mitchell, MITCHELL, Tapper, TEPPER.com, and you can find him on Twitter. That's Dr. T on Twitter. We're going to have a break very soon, and after we come back from the break, I'll be covering all the other episodes that I have had, including the science of sex and spirit. How can I love my partner back to save my marriage? Orgasmic yoga, heads up, and last week dating stuff. So more after this break.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Hi, this is Julie Geigel.
And I'm Alicia Isaacs-Howes.
And I'm Catherine Glass.
And we're the Psychic Angel Channelers. You can find us every week here on OMTimes Radio at Angel Talk Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business, and share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business. The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
today's show, we are summarizing all past 13 episodes of Eros Evolution, and we have been going through episode 61 to 68, and now we're going to talk about episode 69, which is on May 5, and it was titled The Science of Sex and Spirit with Catherine Jessie. Catherine Jessie is actually quite well known because, I forgot to talk about episode 68. Okay, so let's talk about 68 first before we talk about 69. And 68 is Conscious Erotic Touch with Jelle Kremer. Well, Jelle Kremer is a sexological body worker in Germany. And she talks about in this show how she works with people on erotic touch. She talks about the awareness of touch and how your attitude is very important. She talks about erotic massage, about being one of giving and receiving, and splitting up roles. Some people, when you do it organically, some people are not capable of receiving, and it's really about letting yourself be nurtured and versus being really spontaneous about it. So it's important to make time. And she mentions in this show skin hunger, and she talks about her work as a coach. In the show, she talks about, very interestingly, the differences in her work with working with men and women. Her advice for men is they need to really learn how to say yes to their sexuality, to heal their wounds and sense of rejection, to welcome and acknowledge themselves. And for women, it's really about the importance of feeling safe and having their boundaries respected. In order for that to happen, they need to have a safe container. So these are the differences that I found was very, very interesting, extremely interesting from the show. She talks about the importance of listening carefully and listening, and then being able to do intuitively what's next. She talks about the obstacles that is very common for people when it comes to massage. We know we should, we know we want to, but we don't do it, and we don't dedicate time or resources to getting better, and we fear that it's going to be very complicated, so we don't go for training, we don't go for classes, we don't get better, we don't learn. And she's very, very reassuring in her tone in this show. For her, sex and spirit is linked, and sex is basic, and it's very much in the body, and spirit has a spiritual quality to it. When we express our consciousness in our body, and there's a link with our spirituality, it can be super juicy, and our body can help us express our sexual being. She talks about slow sex and how sometimes when you speed up, you lose awareness, and when you slow down, there's more flow. And she talks about when we have goals, we can take us out of the moment. And she mentions her projects in the show with Jade 8, with the book on G-Spot. Okay, so that's episode 68 with Conscious Erotic Touch. Very nurturing, lovely episode that I had with Jelle Kremer. And with episode 69, I had another sexological body worker, Catherine Jessie. And Catherine Jessie actually is teaching the sexological body work program in Canada. And she's very experienced. She doesn't work with clients directly anymore. She just teaches other people who are body workers. And in this episode, she actually turned the table on me, which I was very surprised, and she asked me my experiences with orgasmic yoga. And so this just goes to show how she is true and true a teacher. Okay, so in that show, we talked about neuroscience and neuroplasticity and the structure of how our brain can change when we receive touch, and our nerves can evolve to feel more pleasure. She talks about, she gives exercises of breathing in, lungs expand, and breathing out, expand your belly, and so you can listen to that, because I've written some notes, but I don't seem to be getting it right. She talks about orgasmic yoga, like I mentioned. She talks about the link between sex and spirit for her. To her, sex is embodied experience, and transcendent sex is possible at some point for some people. It doesn't have to be with a partner or the right partner, and this is where we belong. Our body is where we belong. It's home, and science confirms that sex and spirit is linked. She talks about the importance of being an open-hearted person, being safe and loving, being a person of integrity, being able to feel into your yes and no. So if you like what I mentioned about neuroplasticity, the relationship between different sex, the qualities for people who are drawn to somatic sex education, and what to look out for when you want to look for a sexological body worker to work with, you want to check out this website, this episode, because she has a lot of experience. Okay, in the next episode that I had, in episode 70, How Can I Love My Partner Back to Save My Marriage, with Nina Porter. Nina Porter is actually a relationship coach. So this is a little bit different, because most of the time, being a sex educator, it's quite easy for me to invite other sex educators that I know of. But Nina is a relationship coach. And in this episode, she talks about the importance of loving yourself. It's very easy when you're in a long-term relationship to keep loving your partner, giving to your partner, and sometimes we forget to love ourselves. And she talked about something that was very interesting for me. She talks about the shadow that shows up when you're in relationship. It's very easy to look externally and say, you're at fault, you should do this, you are the problem. And she says that every problem that you point outwards is something that is perhaps a wound that you have within yourself that needs to be addressed. So instead of looking for your partner to change or for your partner to fix something, perhaps this is something that you need to look within yourself and fix for yourself. And loving yourself deeper, can be a real way of really saving your marriage. Okay, so she talks about remembering who you are. In order to do so, going quiet within yourself. Consider what gives you joy. And look at the distractions that actually leave you empty. One of the things that she mentions we can do is breathing in and out through our heart. So we don't actually do that. It's just a visualization that you do, and that helps you to really keep yourself open-hearted. She talks about sex being something that makes us feel vulnerable and open, and when we truly surrender and let go and allow, this is when spirit comes in. She talks about sex being a way in which we can experience our Creator, and we honor our body. Our body is our temple, and we revere and respect our body. This is when spirit can be there. She talks about the link between gratitude, magic, and that's something else. So you have to listen to that show, because I got a lot out of it. And for us to get the love we need, she talks also about inner child, sharing the love we have, investing into ourselves, giving to ourselves. And she also addressed the question of how loving ourselves is not about being selfish, and she also addressed the common question of saying that it's not about saying that your spouse doesn't have to change. So if you are having relationship issues, or if you just want to be more emotionally mature in your thinking, then tune into this episode 70, How Can I Love My Partner Back to Save My Marriage? It's a long title, but it's a beautiful title. In the next episode that I have, episode 72, I talked about orgasmic yoga. This was on May 19th. And right now I am actually doing a cycle of orgasmic yoga. Orgasmic yoga is a practice in which I masturbate every day for 30 minutes for 30 days. This is a practice that I learned from my teacher, Joseph Kramer, who started the School of Erotic Touch. He's also the founder of Body Electric, which is Soul. And I learned about orgasmic yoga when I was doing the certificate in sexological body work. So during the show, I talked about for the first 15 minutes what is orgasmic yoga, the next 15 minutes how orgasmic yoga changed my life, and talked then later parts of the show ways in which you can do orgasmic yoga. I then did some shout outs to some of the things that I was doing, including orgasmic yoga, the practice for 30 days, and Make Love Week that I was running for that week. So if you're interested in finding out more about orgasmic yoga and how it can change your life, and it has changed the lives of many people who has already started working on this, then be sure to tune into this episode. And if you're interested to work with me to receive some supervision when it comes to doing orgasmic yoga, I have recently done that with a client. We had, because it's 30 days, so it's 4 weeks. So we worked together for 4 weeks. And each week we talk about her practice and how it has improved her. And this is definitely something that I can take you through as well. So if you're interested to work with me, reach out to me. And my website is Eros Coaching, eroscoaching.com. And my email address is drmarcoli@eroscoaching.com. So if you're interested to supervision, coaching, be sure to
bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on The Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
And welcome to the last 15 minutes of today's show. I'm going to summarize 2 more episodes. In episode 72, I had Hits Up Beyond the Blowjob with Tisha Morgan on May 26th. Tisha is my schoolmate actually at the Institute of Sexology. the Institute for Advanced Study of Human Sexuality. So I met her when I was in school. She's a clinical counselor, sex therapist, and co-founder of the Westland Academy of Clinical Sex Therapy. And she's based in Vancouver, Canada. And she took years to research this book together with her co-author, Constance Lynn Hamel. And the two of them came out this book called Hits Up. And that's also the title of the show. And you can check out the book by going to hitsupbook.com. So the episode really talks about blowjobs, and it's really pretty awesome to look at how I have all these interesting people and interesting topics. It's really such an honor to be able to meet so many people through this show. Okay, so let me just try to summarize what I got from the show. We talked about myths and misconceptions around oral sex, and we talked about okay, so let me just say that Tisha was really giving us a lot of value in this show. She was sharing so much information, and she's so eloquent, because when you talk about something all the time, you just kind of compact everything, and it was really a lot of information. So it's a really good episode to listen to if you're interested. So she talked about social comparison theory, and it's basically when you see what other people have, and then you assume that they have it better than you. She also talked about the wheel of consent that I know is from Betty Martin. She talked about giving, receiving, allowing, and taking. She talked about playing with temperature when it comes to oral sex, when you are with your partner, using I statements, to use the sandwich approach, to be a clear communicator, use feeling words. So she gave a lot of value. Okay, so what else did we talk about besides social comparison theory? We talked about the book, how she came up with it, and who is it for. She was very mindful that the languaging is applicable to all genders, and also to people of different levels, whether you're a beginner or experienced. And she also talked about the process in which she did the research and then the writing for the book. It was really impressive. I read the book, I did a review for the book, and she does have a little bit of everything. She even has things that I didn't think would be relevant, such as how animals also have oral sex. And that's just a way of normalizing for us that oral sex is part of our human sexual experience, and that it is pleasurable. And so as you can tell in the summary, it did include communication strategies when it comes to oral sex, addressing myth and misconception about oral sex, tips and techniques when it comes to pleasure with your partner. And once again, her website is hitsupbook.com, and her website is tishamorgan.com. She is based in Vancouver, Canada. Okay, so last week I had a different guest, and the episode was called Date Yourself. Date Yourself with Tamra Mercica from Getting Naked. And Tamra Mercica is actually from Australia. She's published 2 books, The Upside of Down, and this is a personal journey in toolkit of overcoming depression, which she had. And the second book was Getting Naked, The Dating Game. And there was something wrong with the recording, so it hasn't been put out the whole of this week, but I've managed to get from Tamra Mercica herself a different format. And I'm not sure whether this format will allow us to upload it onto the link. And be sure to go to Eros Evolution at a glance and check it out perhaps next week and see if the link has been updated. But right now I'm just going to summarize what the episode was about. It talked about Tamra's own journey of how she had depression and actually attempted suicide until she was 25. So it took her 10 years to heal, and she's now 35. So she really used herself as a guinea pig, and she's now depression free. One of the things that really helped her was journaling, and I just went for it and just asked her what actually contributed to her depression, and actually what helped her to get out of it. What helped her to get out of it was recognizing that a lot of the childhood programming that she had really came from her subconscious mind. That her beliefs about herself and all the thoughts and that was really eating her up alive came from the big people around us. As a child, we are like sponges, and we absorb all this negative mind chatter, which becomes a broken record, which in turn leads to us doing things that sabotage ourselves. And this is so true. A lot of, I feel, the damage that we have is really from the first 7 years of our lives, and we spend our adult years working through those issues that we pick up, and it is completely normal. And her remedy, Tamra Merciful's remedy, is to date yourself. To date yourself until you love yourself. A lot of it depends on how exactly do you do that. One of the techniques that she shared was coming out with 10 dream dates. So come up with a list of 10 dream dates and then ticking them off. Do them not with some dream hunk or woman, but with yourself. If you feel you deserve to be romanced in a certain way, don't wait for this dream person to come in. Do it for yourself. So have this dream date for yourself. Really learn how to love and honor yourself. And she also advocates not dating, not rushing into a relationship, not dating anyone for 6 months, at least 6 months, and not rushing into, can I shortcut this 6 months? It's less about the duration, I feel. It's really more about the really fully healing yourself. And impatience can be something that needs to be addressed. If you think like 6 months is not worth it, you heal yourself fully and you actually save time. During that 6 months, what you do is you come out with a perfect partner list. You really heal all the issues that you need to, and you really love yourself. Maybe go on your 10 dream dates, and take the time to really go deep within yourself and uncover all the negative subconscious messages that you have. And she talks about the link with our heart, and she shared some very interesting facts with me, that our heart is the first organ to be made when we are in the womb, and our heart is 100 times stronger electronically and 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. There is a heart wisdom that is available, and science has shown that the heart responds 5 seconds before something even happens. So our heart is very intuitive, and she's advocating that we really learn how to honor and listen to our heart. She also talks about the use of jade egg and the practice for women and the benefits when it comes to using it. She talks about the program, and I was asking her questions around the program. It sounds like a really good program because she has beginner sequencers and full sequencers, and it sounds like a very comprehensive program that she has. And she also talks about her upcoming projects in that episode. And be sure to check out Date Yourself with Tamra Mercifer. And if you can't get the recording because you can't get it figured out, then at least go to her website, gettingnaked.com.au. gettingnaked.com.au. And so that's it. The last 13 episodes of Eros Evolution, where sex and spirit meets. And it's really been such an honor to have all these amazing guests to come on the show. They include people that I really love and respect, starting from Barbara Cruellas, who I was trying to get on for the longest time. And she was in episode 61. Then I also had Charlie Glittman talking about anal play. I had orgasmic running, which is a very cool topic. I had the ritual of play with Cleo Dubois talking about BDSM. Then I had Rachel Tapper, who talked about sex and disability, but actually was talking about the 5 secrets to pleasure and connectedness, which applies to anybody. And then I had sexological body workers, Yella Creamer talking about conscious erotic touch, and Catherine Jesse talking about the science of sex and spirit. Then I had relationship coach Nina Porter, who graciously talked about the importance of loving yourself to save your marriage. And then I had Tisha Morgan talking about blowjobs, oral sex, and packed in a lot of information. So I have all these amazing guests, and very, very honored to be able to have them. And next week I have a different guest, and we're going to talk about something completely different. I have Pilates teacher and instructor in Malaysia. She's going to talk about how you can lose weight. And we're going to talk about that, with sex and with you. So be sure to tune into Eros Evolution next week. Be sure to check out eroscoaching.com. Be sure to drop me an email and I'd like to hear from you. So, think, speak now, eating, have sex.